You've told yourself the story 100 times. I just need to get motivated again. Once I find the right system, I'll be back. I used to be different. I just need to remember who I was. You've watched the videos. You've read the quotes. You've made the plans at midnight and felt something, some small fire, and thought, tomorrow. This time it begins, and then tomorrow came, and you did nothing. And the night after that, you made the plan again, with the same energy, the same feeling of certainty, the same quiet conviction that this time was real. And it wasn't. And you've been making that plan for months. What I'm about to say will make you uncomfortable. Good, because I need you to stop blaming the motivation. Motivation didn't leave you. You left it. You stopped doing the things that made you feel like someone worth motivating. That's the sentence you've been avoiding. You didn't lose motivation. You lost respect for yourself. Here's what a motivation problem actually looks like. A man who can't find motivation still wants things. He still has hunger. He still feels the gap between where he is and where he wants to be, and it burns him. It keeps him awake. It makes him restless in a way he can't explain to other people. You don't have that. What you have is something quieter, something colder than restlessness. You wake up and the gap doesn't even burn anymore. You scroll. You eat things you said you wouldn't. You say you'll start tomorrow, and you don't even feel the guilt the way you used to. The guilt has become comfortable. The shame has become background noise. You've stopped fighting it. You've started managing it instead. Sit with what I just said. Don't move past it yet, because that's not a motivation problem. When guilt stops working, when shame stops stinging, when the mirror becomes just another surface in the room instead of something you actually look into, that's not an energy crisis. That's a respect crisis. You've watched yourself make promises. You've watched yourself break them. You've watched yourself do it again and again. And somewhere inside that pattern, quietly, without ceremony, without any formal announcement, you stop believing yourself, not in yourself. Yourself is a difference. Believing in yourself is hope. That can come and go. Believing yourself, that's trust. That's the internal contract. The agreement between who you say you are and what you actually do when it's just you and the choice. You don't trust your own word anymore. And a man who doesn't trust his own word, especially when nobody else is watching, doesn't feel motivated, because motivation requires a foundation. It requires the quiet internal belief that your effort will matter, that you will follow through this time, that you're the kind of person who does what he says. And somewhere along the way, the evidence stopped supporting that story. I want you to go back, not years, maybe months, maybe weeks. There was a moment, specific, quiet, completely unremarkable, when you made a choice you knew was wrong. Not morally wrong, not dramatically wrong, just quietly, privately, personally wrong. You said you'd wake up at 6. You didn't. You said you'd skip the phone for an hour. You didn't. You said this week would be different. It wasn't. And here's the part nobody talks about. That first broken promise wasn't the problem. It was what you told yourself afterward. It's fine. One day won't matter. I was tired. I needed the rest. I'll make up for it tomorrow. You gave yourself the excuse. You accepted it. You moved on. And your subconscious, that quiet, patient part of you that keeps score without telling you, it registered the transaction. Clearly, precisely, the way a ledger does. No emotion. Just the record. You said something, you didn't do it, and you let it go, then it happened again. You said I didn't do it, you let it go, again and again. And every time you let it slide, the internal price of your word went down a little more. The cost of breaking your own promise got cheaper. The standard got lower. The version of yourself you were building in those quiet, private moments, the one you actually had to live inside, got smaller. Most people skip past this part. That's exactly why nothing changes. You didn't lose motivation in one moment. You negotiated it away, slowly, gradually, trade by trade, promise by promise, excuse by excuse, until one day the account was empty. Until you looked at yourself, not in a mirror, just in the quiet of a Tuesday evening, in the middle of a week that looked exactly like the last one, and felt nothing that resembled respect. That's when motivation stopped working, because motivation is downstream of self-respect. You cannot want things powerfully, sustainably, for a version of yourself you no longer believe in. The fire can't catch on wet wood. Let's talk about what this has actually cost you. Not the goals you didn't reach, not the plans that never started, Not the version of yourself you imagined and then quietly buried. The internal cost, the one that doesn't show up in your productivity app, the one you don't post about. You've gotten better at pretending. Better at making it look fine on the surface, to your friends, to your family, maybe even on your phone screen where you post the right things and say the right words at the right moments. You've gotten good at the performance of someone who has it together. Stay with me, because this next part is the one that will hurt, but when you're alone, and you know exactly what I mean, the performance stops. And in that quiet, you feel it, not sadness, not lost motivation. Something underneath both of those, something older and heavier, embarrassment, not of your circumstances, not of your failures, of yourself. The specific private kind of embarrassment that doesn't come from being seen by other people. It comes from being seen by the part of you that still remembers what you were capable of. The part of you that was there when you made the promises. The part that watched you break them. The part that is still somehow paying attention. That part hasn't left you. And that's the cruelty of it. The internal witness, the deepest version of you, the one that knows what you could do if you actually meant it, is still there. It just watches now. Quietly. Without hope. Not because it gave up on you dramatically, but because it has simply seen enough broken promises to stop expecting a different result. You've heard everything I've said before. You haven't heard that watching, that quiet internal presence that has stopped expecting anything from you. That is what a loss of self-respect actually feels like. It's not loud. It's not a breakdown. It's not a crisis you can point to. It's a man going through his days while the deepest part of him waits, patiently and without much hope, for something that hasn't come in a long time. That's why the motivational videos don't work anymore. That's why the quotes don't land the way they used to. That's why you feel nothing when you should feel fire. That's why you can listen to a speech that should crack you open and feel almost nothing. Motivation can't fix a man who doesn't respect himself. It cannot, no matter how loud the music is. No matter how powerful the voice, no matter how much fire you feel at 2 a.m. when everything feels possible again. Because when morning comes, you're the same person. And that person has a record. And the record says, don't trust him. I need you to be honest with yourself for the next 30 seconds. Not with me. With yourself. How long have you been running on borrowed belief? How long have you been watching other men build things while you recalibrate, restart, replan, repromise? How many mornings have you woken up and felt the weight of the person you were yesterday before you even got out of bed? And how long have you been telling yourself that the problem is external? That you need the right environment, the right energy, the right moment, the right sign. The thing I'm about to name you already knew. That's why it stings. The environment is not the problem. The moment is not the problem. The energy is not the problem. You are the problem. Not in the way people say it to make you feel small, but in the only way that actually gives you any power over it. Because if the problem is external, you have no control. But if the problem is you, if the problem is the gap between who you say you are and who you actually are in the quiet moments, then you have something. You have a place to start. You have something that responds to action. So here is what I want to leave with you. Not a plan, not a system, not 5 steps and a printable checklist, just a question. What would you have to do? Starting today, starting small, starting with something so basic it almost embarrasses you, to begin to trust yourself again, not to reach the goal, not to become the person you've been imagining for 2 years, not to post the transformation or prove something to someone who doubted you. Just, what is the one thing, specific, small, done today, that if you did it, you could look at yourself differently tonight, not with pride, not yet. Just with the beginning of something, the beginning of a standard, the beginning of evidence. Because here's what I know about self-respect. It doesn't come back from inspiration. It doesn't come from watching enough videos or reading enough books or finally finding the right voice that says the right thing at the right moment. It comes back the same way it left. One kept promise at a time, one small choice, witnessed only by you, honored anyway. You said you'd wake up, you woke up. You said you'd do one thing, you did one thing. You said you'd skip that one thing, you skipped it. Not because someone was watching, not because it felt good, not because motivation finally showed up. Because you decided, quietly, privately, no audience, with no applause, that your word meant something again. That's not a motivation problem. that never was. You didn't lose motivation. You lost the belief that you were worth the effort. That's the harder thing to admit. It doesn't have a clean fix. It doesn't resolve in a single speech or a single decision or a single good morning. But it starts somewhere, and it starts with something quieter than motivation. It starts with respect. Not the kind the world gives you when you produce something impressive. Not the kind people show you when you perform correctly. The kind you give yourself when nobody is watching, when you do what you said, when you hold the standard in the dark. When you keep the promise not because it feels good, but because the alternative, the version of you that doesn't, that never does, costs more than you are willing to pay anymore. You've been paying that price for a long time. You know what it costs. The question isn't whether the price is too high. The question is whether you're still willing to keep paying it. You didn't lose motivation, you lost yourself. And the way back is not louder music or a better system or the right moment finally arriving. It's the quiet, unglamorous daily decision, made alone, kept alone, to become someone you can believe in again. That decision only you can make, and only you will know if you did.
Put the phone down. Stop scrolling. Stop skipping ahead. Because what I'm about to tell you, you've never actually allowed yourself to absorb it. Not completely. Not honestly. This isn't motivation. This isn't someone in your corner cheering you on. This is a reckoning. Cold, precise, long overdue. I'm not here to make you feel good about yourself. I'm here to make you feel something you've been sprinting away from. For months, maybe years. The truth. Not the softened version you rehearse at night when you're lying in bed swearing that tomorrow you'll finally be different. The actual truth. The one lodged in your chest like something heavy. The one you feel the moment you open your eyes each morning and realize, again, that nothing moved, nothing shifted, nothing changed. You already know what's broken. You already know what needs to stop. You already know exactly what's standing between you and the person you keep saying you want to be. You just haven't been willing to say it out loud. So we're saying it today. No softening, no buffer. Just the unfiltered reality of what's actually happening in your life. Because here's the thing. You don't have a discipline problem. You don't have a motivation problem. You don't have a time problem. You have a truth problem. And until that gets fixed, nothing else does. Ever. Let me tell you what your life actually looks like right now, and not the version you curate online, not the version you hand people in conversation. The real one, the private one, the one that only exists when nobody's watching. You wake up, and for about 3 seconds, 3 weightless, beautiful seconds, you forget who you've been. Then it lands. The same feeling, the same heaviness. The same quiet voice in the back of your skull whispering, you said yesterday, you said last week, you said last month. And then you do what you always do. You reach for your phone. You bury it. You numb it. You start the day the exact same way you ended the last one. And somewhere between sunrise and midnight, you whisper it again. Tomorrow. Same habits. Same distractions. Same excuses, dressed up in slightly different language. Different day, same you. You've restarted more times than you can count. You've made more promises to yourself than you've ever honored. You wrote the plan. You set the alarm. You watched the video, felt the surge, tasted the fire, and then did absolutely nothing with it. That isn't struggle. That isn't you trying and falling short. That is a pattern. Deeply carved, deeply comfortable, deeply protected. And here's where it stings. You are not a victim of that pattern. You are its architect. You built it, brick by brick, one choice at a time. Every just this once, every I'll start Monday, every I've earned a break. You place that brick, and now you stand inside the structure you assembled, wondering why you feel like you can't breathe. You are protecting this pattern. That's the part people don't say. That's what coaches and motivational speakers quietly step around because it makes people flinch. But I'm not here to protect your feelings. I'm here to be honest with you. You are actively guarding the very thing that is slowly dismantling you. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken beyond repair, but because that pattern gives you something. It gives you the warmth of familiarity. It gives you the relief that comes with avoidance. It gives you shelter from the question that terrifies you most. What if I genuinely try and still fail? So instead of facing that question, you don't try. You almost try. You think about trying. You talk about trying. You position yourself right at the edge, and then you pull back. Because as long as you haven't truly committed, you can still blame the conditions. You can still say, I haven't really started yet. You can still protect your sense of self with the story of unrealized potential. I could do it if I actually tried. That single sentence is the most dangerous thing you tell yourself, because it keeps you exactly where you are, permanently, comfortably, stuck. You don't slip. Let's be completely clear about that. You allow it every single time, because slipping implies you had no control. Slipping implies it happened to you. But it didn't happen to you. You saw it coming. You always see it coming. There's a moment. There's always a moment right before you cave. A moment where something in you tightens slightly, where a part of you thinks, here we go again. And then you do it anyway. That isn't a slip. That is a decision. One you've made so many times for so long that it no longer feels like a decision. It feels automatic. It feels like gravity. But it isn't. It never was. Let me ask you something. And I need you to actually sit inside this question. Not skim past it. Not nod and keep scrolling. But genuinely stop and feel it. What is the one thing you keep going back to? You already know. You don't need me to name it. It's already surfaced in your mind right now. That one habit, that one escape, that one pattern you've been rebranding in softer language every time it resurfaces, so it doesn't sound as bad as it actually is. Maybe it's what you reach for when pressure builds. Maybe it's what you do in the silence of being alone. Maybe it's the distraction you've quietly engineered your entire daily routine around, without ever admitting that's exactly what you've done. Maybe it carries shame. Maybe it doesn't even feel shameful. Just comfortable, just familiar, just yours. Like an old relationship you know is rotting you, but the comfort of it, the predictability of it, keeps drawing you back. You already know what needs to stop. You've known for a long time. There was a moment, probably one specific moment, where you looked at yourself clearly and knew. Maybe it was 2 a.m. Maybe it was a Tuesday afternoon going nowhere. Maybe it was a mirror. Maybe it was a conversation where someone asked how you were doing and you said fine and felt the weight of that lie press against your chest. You knew then. You know now. More information is not your problem. You don't need another book, another video, another framework, another system, another journaling prompt. You need to stop deceiving yourself about what you already understand. And here's the part you keep skipping over every time you get close to it. It's not hard to quit. It's uncomfortable to end it. There is an enormous difference between those two things. Hard means your capacity isn't there. Hard means the task exceeds what you're capable of, and that's not this. What this is discomfort. What this is the experience of sitting with yourself without the escape hatch. What this is the raw, exposed, slightly terrifying feeling of becoming the person you want to be without the cushion of the habit that's been muffling everything. And because that's uncomfortable, you dodge it. You assign it, meaning it doesn't have. You call it not being ready yet. You call it still working through things. You call it taking it one day at a time. When really, and be honest with yourself right now, you're just not willing to be uncomfortable yet. So you stay in the middle. Not who you were. You've shifted a little, grown a little. You know better, but not who you could be. Not even close. Just suspended in the gray space between old and new. Repeating yourself in slow motion. Watching days disappear. Counting the nights you burned. Promising the mornings you'll correct it. Waking up in the same place again and again and again. Here's what nobody tells you about patterns. They don't hold still. They don't wait patiently for you to decide you're ready. They compound. Every time you say tomorrow, you don't simply delay change. You vote. You cast a vote. With your behavior, not your words. For this version of yourself, you say, I choose this. Again, again, again. And slowly, without a single dramatic moment, without one day that feels like the day it all collapsed, this becomes you. Not as a temporary phase. Not as a rough patch you're passing through. Permanently. The habits you repeat long enough stop being things you do. They become things you are. That's what should wake something up in you, not paralyze you. Clarify you. Because the person you will be in 5 years is the direct product of what you choose today. Not what you intend. Not what you dream about. Not what you think about while lying in bed. What you choose. And every single day you choose the pattern, you move further from the version of yourself you actually want to become. Further and further. Until eventually you look up, and the distance between who you are and who you were supposed to be is so vast that you stop looking at it entirely because it hurts too much. And you return to the pattern. Because the pattern doesn't judge you. It doesn't hold your history against you. It just receives you exactly as you are. Broken promises and all. That is the trap. That is the thing the pattern offers that nothing healthy can replicate. Unconditional acceptance of your worst self. And that feels like comfort. But it isn't comfort. It's a cage. Soft, familiar, warm, with the door standing open. But you stopped walking toward that door a long time ago. Here's what transformation actually looks like. Not the Instagram version. Not the montage. Not the cold shower and the morning routine and the gym selfie. The actual mechanism of real change. You don't become better. You remove what's making you worse. Read that again. You don't add good things to a broken foundation. You subtract the bad ones. You don't become disciplined. You eliminate the choices that demand discipline to resist. You don't become motivated. You remove the patterns that drain your motivation before it ever has a chance to function. Because your willpower isn't broken, it's exhausted. Every single day you are burning enormous amounts of mental energy, negotiating with the pattern. Should I? Maybe just once? I've been consistent lately. I deserve this. Okay, last time. Okay, tomorrow for real. That negotiation is costing you everything. And the only way to end it is to stop negotiating entirely. No middle ground, no cutting back, no doing it less, no being more mindful about it. Complete removal. Because the moment you leave a crack in the door, you will walk through it. You know this. You've demonstrated this to yourself hundreds of times. Just one always becomes two. Just this week always becomes next week. Just for now always becomes forever. No negotiation. Not because you lack the capacity, but because you've already proven to yourself, alone without anyone's help, that negotiation doesn't work. Not for you. Not for this. The only move that works is the one you've been avoiding. The full stop. The complete ending. The decision decision with no footnote attached. No unless, no except when, no but if, just done. And here's what exists on the other side of that full stop. Not emptiness, not suffering, not a long, grinding stretch of white-knuckling your way through life. Space, real space. For the first time in a long time, room where the pattern used to live. And into that space, something enters. Clarity, energy. A version of yourself you forgot was in there. A version that has been waiting, quietly, without judgment, without resentment, for you to finally create enough room to step into. That version is real, not fantasy, not potential. A reality that is exactly one decision away, one real decision, the kind you don't walk back from. You don't need more time. Time is not the variable you're missing. You've had enough time. If time alone was going to fix this, it already would have. You don't need more information. You don't need to feel more ready. You don't need to hit a lower point before you act. You don't need a sign. You don't need a perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment, and the choice you make inside it. You need to end something. Now, not dramatically. Not by burning everything down. In a quiet, final, completely certain way. The way you end things when you're genuinely done. Not angry, not emotional, just finished. That one habit. Name it right now inside your head. Say the actual name of it. Don't let yourself stay vague. Vagueness is how it survives. When you say, I need to do better, it survives. When you say, I need to quit this specific thing completely starting now, it ends. That one pattern. The one you've been carrying. The one quietly shaping every single one of your days without you ever fully owning it. The one you've negotiated with 1,000 times. The one that has never once honored any deal you made with it. That version of you. The one who stays up until 3 a.m. feeding the thing that doesn't serve you. The one who sidesteps the hard thing every time it appears. The one who trades the long-term person for the short-term feeling. The one who knows better, and still, every time, chooses worse. That version has to go. Not tomorrow, today, not gradually. Now, because you've already tried gradual. You gave gradual every opportunity it asked for. Gradual has a 0% success rate with you. Gradual is just slow enough to reflect comfort. But it isn't comfort, it's a cage. Soft, familiar, warm, with the door standing open. But you stopped walking toward that door a long time ago. Here's what transformation actually looks like. Not the Instagram version, not the montage, not the cold shower and the morning routine and the gym selfie. The actual mechanism of real change. You don't become better. You remove what's making you worse. Read that again. You don't add good things to a broken foundation. You subtract the bad ones. You don't become disciplined. You eliminate the choices that demand discipline to resist. You don't become motivated. You remove the patterns that drain your motivation before it ever has a chance to function. Because your willpower isn't broken, it's exhausted. Every single day you are burning enormous amounts of mental energy, negotiating with the pattern. Should I? Maybe just once? I've been consistent lately. I deserve this. Okay, last time. Okay, tomorrow for real. That negotiation is costing you everything. And the only way to end it is to stop negotiating entirely. No middle ground, no cutting back, no doing it less, no being more mindful about it. Complete removal. Because the moment you leave a crack in the door, you will walk through it. You know this. You've demonstrated this to yourself hundreds of times. Just one always becomes two. Just this week always becomes next week. just for now always becomes forever. No negotiation. Not because you lack the capacity, but because you've already proven to yourself, alone without anyone's help, that negotiation doesn't work. Not for you. Not for this. The only move that works is the one you've been avoiding. The full stop. The complete